Hello everyone, this is Yamin and in this tutorial I am going to show you how we can create form in HTML. So here you can see I have a simple HTML structure. Here in order to create a form, we just need to mention a tag called form. So I'm going to say here form. So here you can see this is the form opening and this is the form ending. So inside it we need to write all kind of input field. So here in order to write input field, we need to say here input. And here input type can be a lot of different things. So here you can see input type text. It means we'll have to write only text over here, normally text, and every input type has a name. So we need to mention the name. Let's say the name will be name. And here in the input type, we should mention what type of input we are expecting. So we are going to say here placeholder, and we can say here write your name. Save it, and there you can see write your name in the input field, and if you now click on it and if you write anything, that text will be gone. And one more thing, that is we should mention what is this input for. So here for it we need to mention a level, and the level will be name, because we want name to be in this input field. And there is one more thing that you can do is that here you can see for, here we can say name. So right now what we want is that when we click on this label, we want this input field to be selected. And how can we do it? For it, all we need to do is that we need to mention an ID here, and the ID will be this on. Here you can see for equal to name. So we are just going to say here ID name. If you now save it and click on name, there you can see this input field will be selected. Okay, so this was for the text input field. So right now I am going to show the input field for email address. So again, we're going to mention first level, and in the level, we're going to say here email. And in the for, you can say here email. So here you can see we have the email level, but what we want is that we want this email level to be over here. And how can we do it? So what we are going to do is that we're going to separate the label and input field using a div. So before this level, I'm going to mention a div opening, and this div will end after this input field. There you go. So there you can see our email is now over here. So let's also use a div for the email as well. So again, I'm going to mention a div, and this div will end over here. So for the email level, we need to have a input field. So I'm going to mention the input field, and input type for the email will be email. Then each input field has a name, right? So we need to say here name will be email. You can also add a placeholder. Let's say here placeholder, it will be your email, or you can write anything in the placeholder. And since we mentioned level for email, so we're going to say here ID will be for email, and this one is basically this one. So right now, if we click on email, this input field will be selected. And if we now click on this email, this input field will be selected. So let's just add a little bit space over here. So for it, we can use line break, div tag. There you can see there is now some space. So let's go and right now add the input field for the password. So let's go and first mention a div. Then for this div, okay, let me just add the line break first. And for this div, we're going to write a level for the password. So I'm going to say here password, and the label will be passwords. And here we're going to mention a input type. So for the password, the input type will be password. So input type password means if we write anything, it will only show us dot for security purposes. So for password, we also need to mention a name, and the name will be password. Let's just set this, and after password, we're going to talk about phone number. Let's say a user want to upload their phone number. So we're going to use again the beer tag. Then we're going to mention the div tag. Inside the div, we will say here level will be phone, and here I'm going to say phone. And for this level, I'm going to mention an input type, and the input type will be TEL. It means telephone. And obviously, again, we are going to mention a name. Name will be phone or number, whatever you want. You can add a placeholder for this as well. Placeholder will be, we want a phone number, right? So we can just add a random number over here. Here you can see. So this was input field for the phone number. So right now I want to show you a input field for the date. So again, let's mention the BR, then the div. Inside the div, let's say this label will be for birth date. Let's say here birth date. And here in the label, I'm going to say birth date. And there you can see we have a birth date input field and I'm in level. So for this level, I'm going to mention an input field and the input type will be date. And we are going to mention a name. The name will be, let's say, birth date. So the name and the label not necessarily needs to be same. You can give different name. That's fine as well. So here you can see, if you now click on it, it will show us a calendar like this. So after the birth date, I want to show you a input field called number. So let's say this user has a age. So I want to create a input field so that he can input his age. And for it, let me just mention a BR tag. Then I'm going to mention a div tag, and inside this div, I'm going to say a level. Level will be for age. Here I'm going to say age. Then for this level, let's write a input field, and the input type will be this time number. And here we're going to give a name. Name will be age. If you now save it, here you can see age, and here again, since we mentioned number, so we can mention any number, but we won't be able to write any text over here. And there is a problem here. You can see a person age cannot be like a more than 100, right? Normally. And also a person age cannot be minus. But here you can see that we can also write the minus number as well. So we need to fix it. So for it, I'm going to say here the minimum value will be 0. So it means right now we won't be able to write any or give any number less than 0. And let's say the max value will be 100. So right now, if I just say over here 100 and just try to increase it on OR. And also we can also add the default value. Let's say default value will be 1 and it will show us on over here. So this was the number type. So right now let's go and see another input type called radio button. So let's go and mention the BR tag, then the div, and let's say this time we want to know the user gender. So let me say over here level. Level will be let's say here male, and let me just say here input type. Input type this times we are going to use radio button, right? So we need to say here type will be radio, and we need to mention value, and the value will be male. There you can see. So here you can see you have the input radio button for male. Okay, let's just have this level over here. I think that will look better. There you can see. So there is two kind of gender, male and female. So here I'm going to say input type radio. This time it will be female, and here the label will be female. Here you can see. So we should mention a label for this. So again, I'm going to mention a label for, I'm going to say here gender. If you now save it, here you can see we have a label for gender and we need to choose either male or female, right? Okay, so this was radio button. You can only choose only on. You won't be able to choose multiple, but here you can see I am able to see multiple. Select multiple. So here we need to mention a name here, and the name will be gender. So the benefit of using radio button is that you can only select on, but for that case you need to give a name for each radio button. Here you can see, if you now save it, and this time we can only select on radio button at a time. Here you can see. So this is radio button. So right now I want to show you a tag called select. So what is select? Select is you can you will it will show you a multiple option and you can choose only one of them. So let me just show you. Let's mention the BR, then T, and inside this div, I'm going to mention a level. Let's say this user has car. So I'm going to say here car, and we want to know the car type. So here we need to say select, and inside the select we need to mention a name. Let's say here name will be car. Then in the select tag we're going to mention a tag called option. So it will show multiple option to the user. So let's say the user might have let's say BMW. So here in the value we also need to mention the value over here, the same value you are seeing over here. So after and we'll have multiple option, right? So we're going to keep it. Let's say we have three option, either BMW or Mercedes. So let me just copy and paste it there, and Toyota. Let me again copy and paste. So if you now save it and click here, you can see it will select, it will show those three options and you can choose either one of them. So this was the select option. So right now I want to show you another option called checkbox, and this will be the last option. But before that, here all those data needs to be submitted, right? So in order to submit a data, we need to have a button called submit. So let me just add a break here, then mention a if, and during this if we're going to say get input type will be submit. If you now save it, here you can see the submit button, and for the submit button you can add a different name over here. For example, here in the value if we write upload and save it will say over here upload. And the use of submit button is that once you write all the data over here and click on upload, it means all the data will be uploaded to a certain place. Okay. So right now let's go and talk about the checkbox. So here you can see our select index over here. So after this tip, I'm going to mention another BR tag. Then I'm going to mention a div tag. So let's talk about checkbox option. Checkbox means you can choose multiple option at odds. So here, let you choose the level. Here I'm going to write which one do you want. Let's just say this. And for this checkbox, we need to mention a level. So let's mention a level first. Let's say here level, and let's say here first light, and I'm going to say here input type will be checkbox, and here you can see it is showing us the like option and we have a checkbox option here. Okay, let me just also add a BR tag over here so that it will look better. So which one do you want? Like, comment or subscribe? It will just copy it and paste over here. This time I'm going to say over here comment and it will be subscribe. So here you can see you have three options, either you can like, comment or subscribe. And here one more thing, that is here you need to mention the name and the help as a. Let's say name will be pot, let's say, and for this the value will be light, and we need to do the same for each of those into fill checkbox. The name will be quart, let's say, and hello will be this time comment. Again I'm going to do the same, hello will be subscribe. There you go. So this is all the input feed in HTML, and here you can see without writing anything, you can click on submit button. So there is a option called required. It means you have to write something in this input field. For example, here you can see we have the name input field, and if I just say over here required, so right now without writing the name we won't be able to submit our form. Here you can see it will ask please fill in the form. So you can do the same for the email address and password for everything. For example, here let's just copy it and paste it for email. Then this time, if I now click on upload, it will first show the name is required. So let's say a random name. And now if I now click on upload, it will say email is required. If I now give the email address and click on upload, the data will be uploaded. So those are all the things about HTML forms. I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. I hope this was useful. If you have any question or suggestion, just let me know in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe and I hope to see you in the future tutorials.